All right. I think one of the most magical parts of the trip for me was having ceremony with the Karo shaman. And the Karo, there's no way without John that we could have been in touch with the Karo. They're a 50,000-year lineage of pre-Inca shamans, and to have ceremony with them was one of the most inspiring things that I've ever done, and it gave me visions and clarity that I didn't have before the trip, and it sort of put everything together for me in one. That was my favorite moment of the whole trip. So I'd say that the best part of the trip is that John brought us experiences that are something you could never do on your own. If we came to Peru on our own and took and tried to travel, there's no way we could have seen any of the special things that we did. We had an insider view of the most sacred and spiritual places that there are. So I think that was my favorite part of the whole experience.
So you did a bunch of art. So talk about that a little bit. What inspired you with the art?
While I was here, I started doing mandalas of things that I saw in my dreams and visions that I had. And it sort of exploded when I got here. Partly the sacred space, partly just the energy of the group, things that were, just big universal truths that needed to be made simpler. And I felt that I learned that my gift was, as an artist, I could make it in a new form that was more palatable for some people. Some people can read it and get it. Some people need to do something, to experience something, to feel connected to the universe. But some people are moved by art, and I think it just is a new portal that I have that I can share with other people and see if it takes them somewhere else with their minds, see if it inspires them. And I just saw another hummingbird right now, and that I learned that my spirit animal is a hummingbird, and this is the perfect closure for my trip. There are like two awesome hummingbirds flying right behind us, so it's been amazing.
John, he set some, expectations, and then far, far exceeded them in terms of our journey, where he starting in the south in the jungle. And I think if someone were to ask me what was your most powerful experience, I'd probably say the jungle. But as far as my most joyful experience, what I really, really just resonated with, I think, was the Sacred Valley of the Incas and being in the rainforest and just realizing, having learned that you kind of succumb to the jungle and the jungle was in charge, coming to the rainforest and just watching and actually feeling and experiencing the harmony, that was truly amazing, very powerful. And then lastly, just the fact that John could introduce us to the ancients, the people who are the actual descendants from the Incas. I mean, your basic tour of Peru, you would not have that experience. So I think having John give us access to those really, really unique people and learning from them and being in ceremony with them was just beyond words. I would recommend it for anyone who has been on any kind of journey, that this journey that we did is very, very different than an internal journey that you do, or self-examination or reading or writing, because it's experiential for one thing, and because you're moving through the transition as you go. And so I would highly recommend it for anyone who's at almost any stage in life where they have the luxury of really stretching. This was a huge, huge stretch for me to do this trip, and it so paid off amazingly well.
Well, I loved the spiritual element of it. I loved being able to go on a trip with my husband and experience it from a deeper level. I love the energy of it. I love the ceremonies. Being able to be with a shaman and get that perspective was so much more vital to me than just hearing the tour guides talking about it from a mental level. I love the heart focus, and I love being able to experience that together.
What I liked about it was you're in spectacular scenery, from whether it's the Amazon or the high Andes, and so much of the orientation was about remembering and connecting with the earth. And so the whole experience of seeing the culture and seeing the environment, but really taking you to a more fundamental level and reminding you what's beneath the more superficial touristy types of things that you'd see even on a good tour. like that was really special for me. It made it much more grounded and rich experience.
Yeah. And we all got really great earrings out of it, too.
Not me.
Zoom in on those. That's cute. Anything else you'd like to add? Anything that surprised you or anything that you'd recommend to someone that might be wanting to come on it?
Well, I came into this knowing almost nothing about the shamanic traditions, whether the Amazonian or the Karo or what have you. And so I came into it with a uneducated but open mind. And I just thought the exposure and understanding to those experiences and how those people view the world and what just their life view was fascinating, their spiritual view. So I don't think this is the kind of tour where you have to, be a shaman in training or have, spent years studying and understand. I mean, we did ceremonies where I understood absolutely no words of what was actually said, but you could still understand the intent of the ceremony and what was being done and still participated at an emotional and spiritual level, which was great. So this isn't just about for people who are a lot farther along a spiritual journey than maybe I am.
That's beautiful. My mom was going to come on this trip, and she's like, I'm afraid it's going to be too woo-woo. But sounds like...
Well, there's a little woo-woo in it, but you got to just have an open mind and say, let's just experience the woo and see where it leads you. And, it doesn't mean that you walk out being a shaman or that you walk out doing all those things, but the experience of this is how people view the world, and this is how people experience life, and this is how people experience nature, and seeing and experiencing it from their perspective rather than from our traditional Western perspective, that in and of itself is mind-opening and expansive and, really educational. And so I just purely from that perspective, I thought it was a tremendous experience.
Yeah, it opens your perspective. Knowing that there are other perspectives out there in the world opens our own perspective, which leads to greater insight and creativity and enhances our lives in all ways.
What's something that you guys are going to take home from this or would be different in your life after you get back home?
You want to start?
I'm going to spend more time in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Just make the time to get out in the morning and connect with the sun and let the sun infiltrate my body and my life and my spirit and wake me up, and really make a much more conscious effort to balance the mind with the heart energy of really connecting with the earth, connecting with the sun on a regular part of my day.
I agree. I think that what reminded me was you become disconnected from the earth in normal, Los Angeles living, and just having that connection on a more regular basis keeps you grounded. And so I think that's probably the single most impactful thing for me.
Yeah, and also remembering to look through eyes, looking for the energy, looking for what's beneath what's happening on the surface, remembering to look through those eyes.
What'd you guys think of the condors?
They're fascinating.
It was magical.
They're just fascinating. Well,
Yeah.
everything was fascinating. The condors
Yeah.
were fascinating, even the jungle. And I will say, I'm much more of a mountain person than I am a jungle person. If I had my choice, I'd be in the mountains. But even going through the jungle, the intensity of the life that surrounds you, and just the vibrancy, even though you don't necessarily see all the animals, you can feel them, you
feel
can hear
it.
them, you can just
Yeah.
feel the life. So,
Yeah.
they're all just the diversity of experiences from that to the ancient cities like Machu Picchu to just the nature of the condors. The diversity of experiences is tremendous.
And I love the way that John organized the trip around the four winds, right? And the way that we started in the south and moved all the way around. It was beautifully orchestrated, and each part of it built on the next. It was really beautifully thought through.
How do I feel about this trip? I feel like this is the type of vacation that someone would take not only to kind of find some inner peace, but it really was, you know, a trip of beauty and transformation. It was healing on just about every level. And it's a unique experience to be able to travel not only to an amazingly powerful country, but to go with an amazingly powerful shaman, and then to also have access to so many other forms of healing. It's truly a unique and a rare experience that sort of feels like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I would highly recommend for anybody looking for a vacation and a spiritual journey.
What was like the coolest thing you did on this trip?
The coolest thing we did, I would have to say, it's just being a part of the different healing ceremonies that we did with the Caro. And then, you know, again, seeing Vilma and, you know, having the despachos with Don Francisco and Ronaldo. Is that his name? Rolando. Sorry. Seeing the condors is just amazingly beautiful. And again, that feels incredibly rare. It's something that, you know, you kind of only think you'll see in video or in a book. So to actually see that in person and to be a part of that beauty is truly amazing.
Talk about Vilma. So who's
Vilma?
Vilma?
So Vilma is, I believe she's part of the Caro Nation through her mother, but she's just an extremely powerful medicine woman who was struck by lightning twice. Actually, her mother was when she was still in the womb. And basically has been initiated by the condors, you know, so she's just an incredibly powerful medicine woman. And it was just an honor and a pleasure, you know, being on my own shamanic path to experience a healing from a woman of such tremendous power. I mean, it's something that's just awe-inspiring. And again, truly touched my heart in a way that I couldn't even begin to imagine, and gave me healing that I definitely needed and wasn't quite so sure would be possible.
What do you think you got out of this trip that other people that we've seen didn't get out of the trip? So start with like coming to Peru this way, something like that.
So coming to Peru basically not only helped me understand who I truly am as a person, but the greatest gift is it really helped me define and kind of understand my purpose on the planet. And I feel like that's such a tremendous gift because I can't wait to get home and to kind of see how it manifests in my everyday life, and to be able to give a little piece of that to all of my patients and clients. I think is really part of it. You know, this wasn't just medicine for me, it's medicine for me to take back and give to the rest of the world. So.
That's really good. Anything else you want to say? What's on your mind?
Just a huge thank you to John just for providing such an amazing experience and pulling in such an amazing group of people from the deepest place of my heart. I'm like, thank you.
Again, who would you recommend come on it?
I would recommend anybody that is, well, it's a great thing to do when you're at a point in life where you're kind of seeking the next step. Maybe you're ready to make a life change and find a new purpose in life. Maybe you've had a career and you're ready for a big jump to do something new, or maybe you just feel like you're moved to take care of the earth and others, and you feel like you want a bigger purpose in life. This is a very great trip to take because it'll inspire you to put all the pieces together and figure out how to implement a plan that now connects you with the universe. So I think that people, a lot of times, that's a very hard thing to find, and you can't really find that in a book. But going on a journey the way we did, we went the 4 winds. We took a journey from the south to the west and all the way up to the north and the east. And the way that John laid out the trip was so that it was methodical and it was planned and beautifully planned, so that by the time you finished, you were sailing and you were absolutely soaring at the highest point. So we started off in the jungle at the shedding the ways, the old ways and the bad things, and by the time we came full circle, we were all just condors soaring and ready to go home with new ideas. So it's been really amazing.
Vamos, vamos.